Hi everyone and welcome to Maths and Physics with Mr. Simons. Lesson is on spotting patterns from algebra to real life success. Remember, the better you get at recognizing patterns in maths, the better you'll be at recognizing patterns in life. And that skill makes you valuable in your career or in any career. Let's test this. What patterns do professionals look for in their jobs? Doctors, flu pattern, high temperature, cough, runny nose, sore throat, tiredness. How they differentiate from other sicknesses? That to a chest pain and difficulty breathing could be pneumonia. If stomach pain and vomiting could be food poisoning. The body aches with the loss of taste and smell, it might be COVID. So doctors use symptom patterns to decide on the right diagnosis. A car mechanic, car not starting pattern, clicking sounds, you hear click, click, click while you're trying to start and there's no swinging, battery problem, right? The engine cranks but no start, fuel issue. Engine turns but quickly dies, can be a spark plug problem. Noise while driving pattern, grinding when braking, worn brake pads. Squealing when turning, can be a loose fan belt, etc. or cam belt. So mechanics use sound and behavior patterns of their car to know the problem. 3. Psychologist. Anxiety pattern. Child has a racing heart. Sweating, restlessness, constant worry before exams, etc. Anxiety. Depression pattern. Lack of energy. Sadness, withdrawal, loss of interest. Child may be suffering from depression. ADHD pattern in children would be they have difficulty focusing, impulsivity, unfinished task. Right, so psychologists would use this behavior and thought patterns to guide therapy. Not always that they do experience this, but this is just to show you that they can possibly have anxiety, depression, or be ADHD. IT specialist comes and look at your computer. It doesn't want to connect to the Wi-Fi pattern, right? So you check if it's just one of the devices, then there's a device setting problem on that device. If it's all the devices, then it can be a router problem. If the router lights are off, it means there's either no power or there's a network outage. Slow computer pattern, that means too many apps are open. Can be a RAM issue, random access memory. Constant crashing and the app keeps on closing, etc. Could be virus or corrupted files. Then the IT specialist, as you can see, would then use error patterns to fix systems quickly. And teachers, relatable to learners. Teacher looks at learners avoiding homework. They might be struggling with the understanding of the homework, or we may have given you homework that's not related to the work that we've taught you in class. Learners act out in class, could be anxiety, or they could have difficulty at home, right? And in short, I can always say it's a quote I use. Learners who are loved at home comes to school to learn. Learners do not experience love at home, comes to school wanting love. Therefore, they act out in class. So teachers also use behavior patterns to help learners succeed. So in short, every job, as you can see, can go through many of them, depends on recognizing patterns. So in the same way, algebra trains your brain to see patterns in numbers and symbols. And once you see the pattern, you can solve problems faster and smarter in exams and in life. So, math is not about memorizing, it's about spotting patterns, using them to solve problems. In fact, algebra is pattern recognition written in symbols. Right, so as a tutor, we first have to know exam pattern recognition. So if I look at the grade 12, paper 1, question 1, question would always say solve for x. And 1.1 would always test some form of factorization. 1.2 would test your use of the quadratic formula for 3 to 4 marks. 1.3, normally third equation, including sometimes exponents, the form of equation or expression for 4 to 6 marks. 1.4 is inequalities. 1.5 is simultaneous equations, and 1.6 nature of roots. Right, now I can go through and just do the easy variations of each of these questions. Then I don't help you for exams, so I have to go through the different variations for each question. All right. So if you understand and you're liking what I'm doing and you want me to do some exam pattern recognition, or you want me to do some question pattern recognition so that when you're studying for exams, please like and share this video. All right. Then I would automatically do you some variations so that you can understand. But on my YouTube channel, I've automatically recorded my videos in the different variations, right? So let's go to the next slide. Question pattern recognition and variations. So factorization can test common factor given two terms. You can test factorization via difference of two squares, also given two terms. So you need to know when you're going to use common factor and when you're going to use two squares. You can test quadratic equation given three terms, where middle term is negative and positive, middle term positive and negative, etc. There's different variations. You can test it via grouping of terms. So we give you four terms and you have to take out common factor between the two. Sum or difference of two cubes. Literal equations and writing in terms of. So there we have EMF equal negative the number of terms, change in magnetic flux divided by change in time. Solving equations by means of completing the square. So I can test that here under question 1. I can test it even under the parabola, where we want the maximum distance between 2 points, or we want you to find the turning point. Solving equations by means of K method. So you see, although it's just factorization, there's various forms of factorization taught over the years. And this goes for each question, whether I say quadratic formula, etc. All right. So algebra is patterns in numbers and symbols. Exams, patterns in questions. Life and jobs, patterns in problems to be solved. So if I gave you a completely new question tomorrow, would you panic or would you look for the pattern? That's the difference between guessing and being prepared. Maths is not about memorizing hundreds of questions. It's about training your brain to recognize the patterns behind them. Once you see the pattern, the question is no longer scary. It's just familiar in a new form. The better you get at spotting patterns, the stronger your confidence becomes. Instead of freezing with anxiety in an exam, you'll think, wait, I've seen this before. It's the same pattern, just with different numbers. That calm confidence is what turns stress into success. So remember, every time you practice maths, you're not just solving numbers. You're building your brain to handle pressure, beat performance anxiety, and unlock success in exams and in life. 1. Don't fear the question, find the pattern. 2. Patterns turn panic into power. 3. Maths isn't memory, it's pattern mastery. 4. Spot the pattern, beat the anxiety. 5. In every new problem hides a familiar pattern. Find it and you win. All the best. Bye.